The police lights painted my porch in red and blue, and I'll never forget the sound of Ranger's low growl carrying through the night air. 2 officers stood at the foot of my steps, hands twitching near their belts, while behind them sat Karen, our self-appointed HOA queen, glued to her phone like it was a badge of authority. She was screaming that I needed to be arrested, that I had to comply with the association, even though no such HOA had any legal claim over my land. I stood there with my rifle slung perfectly, legal, perfectly calm. But in that moment, it felt like the whole street was a powder keg waiting to blow. And then Ranger's ears perked, his eyes locked on the bushes, and I heard it too, the soft click of wire cutters in the dark. It hadn't started with flashing lights or police tape. It started with a damn handwritten note on my welcome mat the week I moved in. Welcome to Willow Lake HOA meeting. Thursday at 6 dues, $150 per month. Attendance mandatory. Signed by Karen. No last name, no official letterhead, just the faint smell of lemon-scented candle wax. At first, I thought it was a joke, but when I asked around, my neighbor Mr. Jenkins' white beard overalls, always sipping coffee on his porch, told me straight, there's no active HOA here. She's trying to pull one out of the grave. Don't sign a damn thing. So I didn't. I ignored the email demanding immediate payment. I even attached a copy of my deed showing clear as daylight, no covenants, no association. But Karen didn't care. A few days later, she knocked on my door in her crisp blouse, plastic ID badge bouncing on her chest, clipboard in hand. Cash check or card, she said, like I was checking out at Walmart. When I told her no, she looked past me into my house as if she was already inspecting violations. Everybody in Willow Lake participates, she said flatly. Or they face fines. I tried to reason. Told her I mow my lawn, keep things tidy, help my neighbors. I even offered to fix Jenkins's wobbly steps for free. She blinked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. That's not how this works, she hissed. She tapped her fine schedule like a drumbeat. Day 1, warning. Day 2, $50. Day 3, $100. Day 4, lien. I should have laughed in her face. Instead, I shut the door and felt this pit form in my stomach. From there, it was harassment on repeat. Orange stickers slapped on my mailbox. Tow trucks called to haul off my old pickup even though it was parked in my own driveway. Cops knocking on my door because someone anonymously complained my dog was dangerous while Ranger was asleep snoring like a motorboat. Every time I thought maybe she'd run out of steam, maybe it would end. But Karen was a storm that only gathered strength. And here's the ugly truth, I started to doubt myself. Nights alone on the porch, I wondered if maybe I was the problem. Was I being stubborn? Should I just pay the damn fees and keep the peace? That's what most people around here had been doing. Jenkins admitted he'd handed her cash for years out of fear. One woman whispered that she thought the fake fines were real, that if she didn't pay, she'd lose her house. For a while, I felt like I was standing alone against a wall too big to climb. But then, Sheriff Dawson stepped into the picture. Hat, low voice, steady, every word carrying the weight of the law. When Karen called the cops on me for brandishing, he shut her down cold. He doesn't belong to your HOA. Dawson told her, pointing at my deed right there in front of half the neighborhood. You can't vote someone into a covenant. Not in this county, not in this state. For the first time, I felt like maybe the ground under me wasn't shifting sand. Karen didn't stop. She escalated. One night, a tow truck pulled up again. Only this time the driver looked me in the eye, read my deed, and refused. Karen's jaw clenched so hard I thought she'd break a tooth. She hissed, "You'll never work here again," but the man just shrugged and drove off. Another night, I found a note thumbtacked to my fence. Join or else. I bought cameras, added lights, stacked my paperwork by the door. Still, the pressure built. And then came the night the fake security team showed up. 3 men in reflective vests carrying bolt cutters and clipboards trying to act official. Ranger spotted them first. The sheriff arrived in time to catch one of them in the act, and when we shined lights on his ID, the last name hit me like a hammer. Browning, Karen's relative. These weren't security contractors. They were thugs playing dress-up armed with wire cutters and fake citations. That was the breaking point. I realized it wasn't just Karen's obsession with control. It was organized. Someone was funding her. Someone wanted this neighborhood under their thumb. And the deeper we dug, the more the rot showed trucks full of fake liens, counterfeit signs, even drones fitted with speakers blasting threats from the sky. One night, those drones came buzzing low red lights blinking like vultures. They dropped fake notices into yards, shouted through tinny speakers that we'd face removal if we didn't comply. My neighbors panicked, kids screamed, but I stood on my porch with Ranger at my side and refused to move. The sheriff rolled out a jammer, and one by one those drones crashed into the grass like broken toys. The street erupted in cheers, but the fight wasn't over. Because Karen came storming out of her glowing generator-powered house, shrieking that she'd been promised power, that the board would make her queen of Willow Lake. That was when Dawson slapped the cuffs on her. I'll never forget the look on her face, caught between fury and disbelief, screaming that the board owns this town as she was dragged to the cruiser. The neighbors cheered again, but Dawson's eyes stayed hard. "This isn't just Karen," he warned. "There's a bigger machine behind her." And I knew he was right. Those black SUVs that showed up later, men in suits threatening my family, those weren't Karen's playthings. That was money and muscle from outside trying to turn my quiet street into a profit mill. But that night, in that moment, the battle ended with Karen's fall. My neighbors saw her for what she was: a fraud in a blouse, a tyrant without a crown. They saw that all it took to break her was standing together, refusing to bend. And me, I learned something I'll carry until my last breath: power built on fear only works if you hand it over.